G'day, I just got back from seeing Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and this is going to be, spoilers. So if you guys have not seen it, then I would advise not watching this video because there are going to be a lot of spoilers, and maybe come back after you've seen the movie, if you choose to. If you don't care about, the movie at all, or the plot, well then you can stay, and I'm going to go into it in a bit of detail. Okay, so the film sequel to The Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which, showed the uprising of Caesar and all the apes and how they go off to form their own community. This starts pretty much 10 years afterwards. I think they say 10 winters at the beginning. So, the virus that was taking out humans' lives, which they, dubbed the simian flu, sort of like into like our pig flu or swine flu that went around a couple of years ago, and the avian flu. So the simian flu, it takes out most of, humanity. Like, there's only small humans left. All society breaks down as we know it. And there's very few people. And it starts with the apes using the sign language that Caesar learns in the first film. And he's communicating to all the other apes that are sentient. And he's telling them, he thinks he's asking if all the humans have died off because he hasn't seen them for so long. So, obviously, humans do come into the story at some point, and you get the it is a cliche. One human that's just like, oh, damn these apes, damn these dirty apes. He's very, xenophobic in the fact that when he sees these things and he's like, they're talking, we gotta go in there, we gotta kill them, and he's like a fearmonger, and he tries to get all the humans to unite to kill these apes, and you get your one shining example of humanity in the fact that this guy's like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to give these guys a chance. So he goes back, tries to make peace with Caesar, who is the leader of these apes, and they agree to, work together mutually. So the humans are like, we will fix this dam. And this dam, once it's fixed, it will give us all this electricity, and, we won't come to your territory ever again. We'll live over in our city now, because we'll have, limitless hydroelectricity. So, Caesar agrees, and, of course, that xenophobic douchebag that I was mentioning earlier, he breaks the rule that the apes had, which was no guns. So, this dude brings in a gun, and in the worst fucking timing possible, he actually hits the Caesar's newly born baby, and he's like, get away from the gun, pretty much. And, yeah, that causes a lot of distrust between humans and the apes. Now, from the first film, you may remember Koba, who was the ape that had been, experimented on with various products by the humans, and so he's got quite the grudge against humans after being living in captivity and being cut and all that and experimented on. So he's not exactly trusting of these humans doing anything near the ape society. Needless to say, he's the equivalent of the xenophobic douchebag human, because he is the xenophobic douchebag ape. And he starts, his fear-mongering, and he's like, well, as long as Caesar is in charge, all these humans are going to be allowed to live. We're going to, make peace with them when we should be making war. We could take them over. And so, much to that, that's, the central plot of the movie. Humans, apes, who couldn't have seen that? I think the cinematography of the film is really beautiful. Like, some of the shots that they do, and all the CG, all the apes look pretty realistic. I went with my father and my brother, because my father loved the original Planet of the Apes, and so I had to bring him along. And my younger brother had never seen any of them, so I just had to get him along so I could get, different sides. Anyway, so we saw this, and, my dad leans over and he's like, are they real apes? I'm like, no, Dad. So that just gives you an idea of, the CG. So, once again, you get these really cool and interesting shots, which are you'll cut to all these apes, and they'll be, hollering and making, sounds like chimps and whatnot, and just beating on their chest and yelling and jumping up and down, and then it will cut to a human group who's rioting and shouting and jumping up and down. It's not so different after all. But I really liked that, and in fact, for the most part of the movie, the humans come off as the most primitive out of the two. So that's really cool. I like that. And you can entirely go into the film thinking that humans are not so great, but something that I wasn't expecting, which is the film does a great job of being it's not one side's particular fault. They both distrusted each other, and both have equal parts to blame. As for the score of the movie, the musical score that is, oh man, it was so reminiscent of the original Planet of the Apes, and like, I'm not even sure, I'll have to go back and listen because I just got back, but it might even be some of the music from the original Planet of the Apes, because if it wasn't, I could not tell the difference. It was really good, and if I go back and check and it wasn't part of the original, then whoever the musician was did an amazing job of making it feel like it was. You get a lot of moments where you see the apes riding on the horses, and they're putting humans in cages, and I don't know, it's very, it unsettles you in the fact that you're like, oh, that's not really great. You see all these humans being herded up, and I don't know. Either way, I thought that it was a great sequel to Rise of the Planet of the Apes. So Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, thumbs up that way. As part of the entire series of Planet of the Apes, I think it is definitely one of the better ones. The ending does leave something questionable, because there was a certain route they could have taken in the film where it would have made more sense to how we get to the original Planet of the Apes, but they, because of hero shenanigans and whatnot, they circumvent this, and they sort of have to do a random thing at their end of like, oh, everybody's safe, but we're still going to war. And I don't know, I would have preferred it if, they had done the thing where just hate and fear-mongering ruled everybody, and that was the reason that humans lost. And I don't know, the protagonist does what he does at the end, I'm like, that's cool, and they, don't get me wrong, it was done in a really good way, but it's just like, oh, yeah, I can understand why they still go to war, but anyway, so I was actually going to leave this part out, but then I realized that at the start of the video I said that there was going to be spoilers. So what I was talking about just then is Caesar, the ape, gets dethroned by Koba, because Koba gets a gun and shoots Caesar, and the apes think it was a human, obviously, because apes don't kill apes, that's one of their rules, and apes do not use guns. So when all of a sudden Caesar drops dead from a bullet, everyone, Koba comes in and he's like, humans did this, and they set fire to our camps, which he also did. But this automatically makes all the apes round them, band together and go and attack the human city. Now the humans put up a really decent fight, but the human armory gets raided, and for some reason the humans decided that leaving their armory outside of their main wall is a great idea. I don't know why. Maybe it was all just there and they're too lazy to, go bring it inside. But the apes end up getting their guns, and so that's pretty much contributes to how humanity falls. These apes steal the guns and they just blindly fire, and humans, because we're scared of all the guns when they're just blindly firing on horseback, we're just like, holy crap, what the hell is going on? So there's just bullets everywhere. Caesar, however, turns out he isn't dead. He's still alive and very, very hurt. So the good human, the shining example of humanity I talked about earlier, he and his wife and son, they come and they patch up Caesar, and they look after him and take him back to the house that he grew up in the first movie, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Caesar's son eventually meets up with the good human, and I can't even remember his name, so his name wasn't, memorable to me, so I'm sorry if this is causing confusion. But he goes with the good human to his house and realizes that, his dad's alive, and that Koba led all the apes to war for no reason. So at the end, Caesar comes back, gets all the apes back from Koba, and he, by a cool fight scene, and it was cool. But then at the end, it's just like, oh, cool, so Caesar, you're back to leading the apes, so we can form peace again. And he's like, nah, we're going to war because humans wouldn't forgive us. And because the military was called in, it's implied that the military would fight the apes and lose anyway. But I just thought, if Caesar did just die, and they cut off the movie when all the apes were rounding up the humans, it would have been a more satisfactory end, I guess. Because even though I liked the end that they went with, it doesn't really lead to the Planet of the Apes. It just assumes that the American military is so inept that they get killed by gun-toting apes. All of the military. And so, I didn't really like that, and especially when you get Caesar, who's a very pro-peace guy, and the main human protagonist, who's a very pro-peace guy as well, and they just, at the end, they're like, oh, sorry, we're still going to have to go to war with each other. But anyway, that's what I really did not like about that. So that was my thoughts and my semi-review of the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I really liked it, and once it comes out on DVD, I will add it to my collection. So, yeah, until next time, guys, I will catch you later. So, see ya. I love you, Dr. Zaius.